Hi there guys, my name's John Morris of Prime Property Auctions. I am a property agent based in Glasgow, Scotland. I have over a decade of experience selling and valuing commercial and residential properties along with some land. Today I am going to react to some fictional houses from some well-known TV shows. So buckle up guys, let's get into it. What have we got first? Better Call Saul. What a f***ing program that is. A commercial property. When valuing commercial properties, the first thing I usually do, especially in Scotland, is check the assessor's website and find out the rateable value for it. When you are valuing a commercial property, really it's usually based off the rental income that's being produced by the tenant, and then depending on the covenant of said tenant, there will be a multiplier. Say you've got a tenant who is not a grade A tenant, they're not very well known, you're usually going to have a 10 times multiplier added to that. So if Saul Goodman was paying £10,000 a year for this unit, it's going to be worth anywhere between £100,000 and £120,000. So with commercial property, it's actually more to do with the tenant opposed to the property itself. So I believe this is a 3D rendering, so it's not his actual, or not the actual office. Somebody's actually gone through their time to make this. Very, very detailed. I wonder if you can read any of the documents. Hide drug money. So valuation is very dependent on area. If you are speaking to an agent that says, oh yeah, don't worry, I deal with that, you need to know that they actually know the area they're talking about. We are based in Scotland and we do deal with stuff down south as well, but we've also got people that we speak to in certain areas when we don't necessarily know the value. Big thing in valuation, if you don't actually know, you can phone somebody up and say, I know you sold the property down the street, what actually did you sell it for? Get a rough indication on that and find out figures, what the price per square foot was. To know a valuation for this, what you would want to do is potentially get something that's sold in the area. Even if it's not the same size, you can then find out what the square footage was, what price per square foot it was achieved, and then you can apply the square footage to this, and then you've got another multiplier. Without knowing the square footage of the property, without knowing what the average cost per square foot is, I would not be able to value this property. So that is really good for this start to this series. I think there's going to be a lot of this. Breaking Bad.
It was very important to Vince to have a real truthful socioeconomic level for Walter White, and that meant a small house. Well, a small house is very difficult to film.
Just going to pause that there. It's hilarious to say that this detached house is a small house. I've recently been in the States and the plot sizes and the houses on them are massive, and then what is considered a small house in the States, probably a very good sized house in Britain, especially if you were to buy a detached bungalow around about the south side of Glasgow. You're not getting much change from £500,000. Anyway, so it looks like when you come into the property, you've got a living room area, you then got a dining room area, and you've got the breakfast bar that backs onto the kitchen so far. So the interior decor is crap.
Now, if we go around to the other side, you'll see that actually this wall is the other wall. It's only this wide.
That little chat on the wall. So when we conduct viewings of properties and things like that, you'll always get someone who will go up and rub a wall, give it a knock, rub the wall, planning on knocking down that wall that holds up the building.
But that's a supporting wall.
When valuing a house, all about comparables. That's why using an agent that knows the area is very important. So stereotypically, I would always suggest getting 3 valuations. Some agents will tell you whatever you want to hear in order to have you sign up with them, and then they'll just put it in the market and hope that it sells. Ideally, a good agent will come out and they will show you comparables of what has sold similar in the area. If your property is better than one in the area, they say, well, this one sold for £400,000, but because you have a better outlook onto your garden, you've got an open plan kitchen that goes out into a decking, whatever it is, we expect maybe a little bit more. You'll get other agents to just come out and be like, you will get £600,000, £700,000, £800,000, what do you want? I'll get you this. You want to make sure that you're using a well-informed and knowledgeable agent. So moving on. Mad Men. I toy with trying to be Don Draper, but then he's a full-blown alcoholic and smokes loads of cigarettes. So I mean, he's super cool. What season is this though? I think I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
I've no idea. I've never seen it.
Okay, well that's useful. Very cool apartment. So I think this is actually making a resurgence as well, like the sunken seats. So that was really big, I think, back in the 80s. So before my time, but it was this sunken nature, and then you would have sofas and things in there. Does look cool, man. And there's the wee drinks tray there. Very good and important for every household. Ew, cool. So what have we got here? Kitchen, large living room, dining room, patio, bedroom with ensuite, a study. And then there's like another music room, another bedroom. It looks like a very nice apartment. In order to value, so this property, if it was based in Glasgow, if you say it was based in the West End of Glasgow, this property is probably worth anywhere between 450,000 to 500,000 pounds. If this same property is based in Aberdeen, it might only be worth, say, 200 to 250. Area of properties is so important. So me to say like, oh, I know how much this property is worth, I can't do it. If there was sales evidence and I could look and I could speak to a local agent and say, well, what did this one sell for? And actually gather more data, then potentially. Ozark, what a program. Oh, so good. Funnily enough, so the house in Ozark, absolutely amazing. Obviously set on the lake, which is beautiful. A couple of things to consider. Are you in a floodplain? Because that can have a massive effect on your mortgageability and obviously potential resale value. So if you buy a property and then you're like, it floods 3 times in your ownership when you come to sell it on, and you would have to state that the property flooded. Well, the solicitor would look at it and say that this is previously flooded, and then the mortgage company might not be willing to lend on a property for that reason. But if you're going to ask me how much their house is worth in Ozark, I have no idea. Obviously, I was just in Maine, in America, and I looked up some of the house prices when I was there because I am a geek, and I think the average house price there was $300,000. Stuff like this was, say if we were comparing this to Loch Lomond, buying properties that are next to the loch go for extreme prices because they are beautiful big houses set on large plots of land that then have access to the water for people with their boats and things like that. So it is an actual house, it's not like a Breaking Bad thing that they've just...
Here's a question. Would properties that have featured in TV shows be worth more because they're famous?
Yes.
Have you come across any?
There was a certain BBC presenter that was a very bad person. That was a repossessed property, and it was Jimmy Savile's Pedo Cottage was something, but that got a lot of press, and somebody ended up buying it for way too much money, and it's just lying there rotting. But because of the level of press it got, the price was pumped up quite high. Not a property that I would want to own. I think the guy's idea was he was going to do up and use it as a serviced accommodation, but he left it for a while and the property just got worse and worse and worse and worse, and it still just lies there vacant. See this property, what they've rented it out for the show. The person that owns it is a holiday home for them, or they use it as an SA, which stands for serviced accommodation. So that's the likes of you're using it for short stays, for Airbnb and things like that. People do that. If they buy a holiday home, they maybe stay there a couple of weeks of the year, and the rest of the time they will let it out to people who go on holiday. Really high return on properties like that. There's a lot of extra management that goes into them, but the level of money you can make from owning SAs is very high. There's different mortgages that you have to get in order to actually comply with your mortgage criteria to get a serviced accommodation mortgage, but there seem to be more products on the market now than there was, say, 5 years ago. Sopranos. Wow, this kind of looks like one of the properties that we reacted to last time. I like the level of windows. It's a very light room. Be great for a garden party. Just have all those doors open, sitting out there, coming in, getting a wee margarita from the bar. Somebody owns this house and people regularly go up to it and actually stand outside and get photographs. I mean, this is worth millions. The property values in America are just crazy in comparison to here. I imagine somebody who's bought it will like the fact that it was the Sopranos house. Well, you do find, see celebrities, when they buy properties, they'll buy something for £2 million and then live in it, and then when they come to sell it, they'll be like, again, it's the agent like, oh, I think we can get you 10 million now because you've stayed there. I mean, I think Michael Jordan had his mega mansion that was in Chicago on the market for ages. And it just didn't sell, and they ended up having to slash the price to get it sold. But I would expect that people will pay more for this property because it is Tony Soprano's house. So hopefully you enjoyed me reacting to these fictional properties. As I said, it's very important to use an agent that is knowledgeable in the areas you know. I can't value these properties because I don't know the areas. So you need to get somebody that knows what they're talking about. If you're looking to buy or sell a property in Scotland, England or Wales, then reach out to me. You can leave a comment in the comment section or get me on Instagram. I'm John_property_auctioneer. So hopefully you've liked this video. Smash the like button, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and make sure to get hammered.